Welcome back to the channel. This is the Action Figure Grader, and we're going to look at some more recent sales on eBay for vintage Star Wars items, mainly loose complete figures, loose graded figures, a few vehicles, a really nice assortment here, a few baggies as well. Thanks as always to my Patreon supporters. They allow this channel to be what it is today. Patreon.com/actionfiguregrader is where you can go to sign up for as little as $1 a month. All right, let's take a look at some recent sales here. I thought this one was an interesting one. We've shown this a few times and we've talked about it. This is the quote-unquote orange cape squid head. And, you know, the orange cape is really a degraded brown cape. But when it's very uniform in how it degrades and it becomes this very uniform orange color, it's very desirable among collectors. And this one sold for more than I would spend. Okay, this one sold for $275. Don't spend that if you're looking for one of these. Usually in an auction, they can go for anywhere from about $140 to about, $200 max. That's a max number. This one was particularly mint looking, although it did have some kind of discolorations on the face, so it wasn't that mint, but the cape was mint and it was very uniform in color. So the more uniform the cape is, if it doesn't have any spotting or discoloration spots, the higher the price it goes. So $275 though, I wouldn't pay that personally. That's a little high to me. Here was a 15-inch IG-88, 100% complete, very clean looking. And this one sold right in line with where you would expect one to sell loose complete at $800, free shipping. We've seen lower, but very rarely do they get lower. In an auction, you might see them into the high sixes, but I've seen also higher than $800. So I thought it was priced pretty well, just given how clean this example did look. One thing to keep in mind is for the bandolier, where those little bombs, those little grenades lodge in, sometimes that gets like melted and causes damage to either the bombs or to the bandolier. So that's maybe one thing to ask from the seller when you're buying one of those, just to make sure that it's not damaged on the bandolier or the bombs. But that one sold for $800. It seems like a fair deal to me. Anderson Enterprises, a seller we talk about all the time, had a Red Bar R5 D4 at auction, and that one sold for $570. Big number there, but not as big as maybe some we've seen. This one was probably in about a 70 or 75 grade condition, just because of the sticker conditions. I would say it's probably 75 would be my guess there. $570 though, not a terrible deal, just relative to what higher grade examples can go for. Next up, we've got some graded figures, loose graded figures. We had an AFA 80 Plus blue snaggletooth. That one sold for $735 on 26 bids in an auction. This one was the no toe dent version, AFA 80 Plus new case style, $735. Again, a pretty fair deal relative to even some others we've seen sell. That one was a very clean condition. The silver on the boots was super nice. Chef's kiss. Very, very nice. Next up, we had, this is another price I would not pay. Okay, this is a CAS 85 Plus die-cast Darth Vader's TIE Fighter. That number is too much. I wouldn't pay $550. That's a significant number. I've got one of these. I'm probably going to be selling it on Rogue 5 Toys along with a few other items. And, by the way, I'm sure many of you know this already. I do have a lot of sales going right now on Rogue 5 Toys, loose graded as well as mint on cards, just to kind of pare down the collection a little bit. The wife says pare it down. We're going to redo this room. So that's what we're doing. And I do have one of these that I'm thinking about selling. And it won't be $550. I can promise you that. It'll be in the threes is my guess. And I think it's the same grade as well. Mine might be a 90. I can't remember. I think it's an 85 plus, just like this one. But $550 is too much. Don't spend $550 on that. Some loose graded figures again. This one was an interesting one. This is the molded face Rebel Commando from China COO. But usually the China COO for the Rebel Commando is a painted face. It's very difficult to find the molded faces for some reason. And I sent this out as a Patreon alert, and I think I even had it in a what to buy video. And one of my Patreons did buy this. 110 pounds, which is $143. It's just a really tough variant to track down. You just never see them for sale. I don't know what the deal is, but it's just hard to find them. So that one was sold by the Muffin Man. Again, China COO, but the molded face. The more common one is the painted face. That's very, very common. Next up was another one I sent out to my Patreons that one of y'all bought. I don't know who, but I thought it was a fair deal. It was an AFA 85 Lily Letty Emperor's Royal Guard. That one sold for $225, which again, for an AFA 85 for that, pretty good deal there, I think. Probably about, if I had one, that's probably about where I'd list it. So I thought that was a very fair price there. My buddy Han_Solo sold this AFA 85 Han Solo in carbonite, and he's a seller to keep on your watch list. Good friend of mine, and always has really nice, fair deals on high grade, loose graded vintage Star Wars items. That one sold for $400, and then another one literally sold the next day for $450, same grade. So that just shows you he had a really good deal there on that AFA 85. Next up, an ungraded R2-D2 pop-up lightsaber, probably an 80 grade would be my guess, 80 or 80 plus. It was a pretty clean one. $550 on that. Obviously the sticker had yellowed, but most of them have yellowed at this point. I don't know. That's a pretty high grade example for $550. That price seems a little low to me, to be honest with you. Excellent to near mint is how I would describe it too, but I think that's got a good chance at an 80 grade just based on the condition there. Next up, this one is an old case style AFA uncirculated 90, a monomon. That one sold for $585. To me, if you could pick that up in the fours and then get it recased, that would be the way to go. It's tricky whether it's going to actually keep the uncirculated 90 grade because it's just jostling around inside the case. This is like the oldest of the oldest AFA cases, and there might be damage to the figure just from jostling around. But that one did sell for $585 US over in the UK. Two different high grade droids, loose graded C-3POs sold. First was an AFA 85. That one sold for $545. And then the 85 plus grade sold for $570. So that's a nice tight price range if you're looking for a high grade loose graded droid C-3PO. $550 to $580, somewhere in that ballpark is about right. Some baggies I wanted to talk about. So Anderson Enterprises also had some baggies. This one had a small tear in the original Boba Fett mail-away baggie. I think it's an SWD. It's B or D. I think it's a D. That one sold for $305. This one was a little cleaner and sold for $331. Both of those prices are very cheap. Really good deals there. Next up, he also had some Last 17 baggies, probably from the Jabba the Hutt dungeon playset, but the Barada sold for $380. This is a weird one. So I've got one of these for sale on Rogue 5 right now. It's an AFA 85, and I've got it listed for $455. This one is ungraded and sold for $390. So, and it's sad. Mine is sad. It's $455. So if anyone's looking for a high-grade Amonomon baggie, it's AFA 85 for $455, and it's on Rogue 5 Toys right now. But this ungraded one sold for $390 plus $5 shipping. So go figure. I think I priced it right, but it has not sold as of yet. Next up was the EV99 from that Jabba the Dungeon playset, but this one had been opened. And so you're basically buying a loose near mint figure, and it's sold for $515, which is kind of confusing to me because the baggie is open. No idea why that one sold so high, but it is a beautiful figure, and I'm sure it's near mint plus inside, but I wouldn't pay $515 for it personally. Some vehicles, we had a loose complete Millennium Falcon with a pretty decent box. It did have a pop cut on the bottom of the box. The inserts were included as well as a complete vehicle. That sold for $375 plus $55 shipping. We had a Slave 1 that was very clean. It included the inserts as well. That one sold for $600, big number there. And here's a close-up there. It's got the instruction sheet, applied stickers, Han and Carbonite, the box, as well as the cardboard insert. So $600 on that one. And we also had a carrying case. This was an AFA Third version of the carrying case, which is the Empire Strikes Back with the Wampa in the upper right-hand corner. That one sold for $1,000. I think at an auction, it's probably between $800 and $900. That would be my guess there. But that AFA 80 did sell at $1,000. And then finally, this was an interesting one. This was an AFA qualified 85 Empire Strikes Back AT-AT, and that one sold for $2,225. Very affordable for what it is. I mean, an AFA qualified 85, not many of those out there. It's certainly going to go for a lot less than a factory sealed example, and you don't have to worry about the tape drying out. So very, very clean example, and I was curious to see what it would sell for. I was thinking it would be in the twos, but I just wasn't sure when or where in the twos. But sure enough, it did sell at $22.25 with $200 shipping. That puts it at about $24.25. So anyway, that's all I really had for this video. I hope you enjoyed this look at recent loose graded, loose complete, as well as vehicles. Be sure to leave me a like if you did enjoy the video. Thanks again, and I'll be back soon.